My name's Adam Monaco and I'm the Financial Controller for Hi-Tech Oils. With our national capacity, we can now service Australian companies nationwide. Of late, we have now expanded into the New Zealand market. Here at Hi-Tech Oils, we receive premium base oils and premium additive packs. Together, with our highly trained staff, we manufacture over 500 premium quality products. Hi-Tech Oils is Australian made and Australian owned.
This is a cool and damp Brands Hatch ahead of the final race in the final round of the 2018 Hyundai Construction Equipment British Sidecar Championship. Yesterday was vastly different. The weather was glorious, there was a strong wind, no wind today, but still a big crowd. Huge crowd yesterday, and the spectacle when 30 sidecars charged into Paddock Hill Bend at the start of race one was something to behold. We're going to have that again today, but before we do that, let's take a look at what happened yesterday in race one and the championship standings before we got here. Well, even with double points up for grabs here, there's nothing anybody can do about the new champions at the top, but Ellis and Bryan are fighting for third, and that could all change after the two races today, the grand finale here at Brands. Stevens and Charwood have done a great job all season, as has Gary Horspool and Jimmy Connell. In the Cup class, Ellis and Stevens, that's where the battle is. Either one of those crews could win it here, but Ellis won't want to throw it away. If ever there was a race I was looking forward to, it was this one at Brands. Not only did we have a full grid of 30, but we had the newly crowned world champions in the shape of Ben and Tom Birchall. We had the multiple former world champion Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes, and of course the newly crowned British champion Steve Kershaw and Stuart Clark, who from pole position made an absolute flyer and were never to look back race long. Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson didn't quite get the start they would have wanted, but they slotted in quite well. Gary Bryan started well. Phil Bell, returning from action with Justin Sharp, was also in the thick of it, but at the front, Kershaw and Clark were away, and they were to hold that position all the way to the checkered flag. The battle, though, further down between these two world-class riders, Reeves and Birchall, was absolutely fantastic. But they had a spanner in the works in the shape of Gary Bryan and Phil Hyde, who on the Santander Salt 1000cc bike pushed really, really hard, and lap after lap after lap made these 600 world-class guys work for it. Birchall went through on the brakes, Reeves would follow through, and then on the long straight bits, Gary Bryan would use the power and streak past again. But it was a race-long, enthralling spectacle which everyone relished. Phil Bell and Justin Sharp were to retire early on with contact damage on the sidecar wheel. Undeterred though, these guys at the front really got stuck in. And the crowd, a massive crowd here for the British Superbike finale, were on their toes. Making a good return as well, Rick Lawrence passengering Roger Lovelock on the big 1000cc BMW, and Rick Lawrence, looking as fit as I've ever seen him, was in good shape, and they were sitting strongly behind this group. And Gary Bryan and Phil Hyde, of course, would have to fight them off as the race drew to a close. But the battle between Birchall and Reeves was just the most amazing. Reeves demonstrated his corner speed. He would look at the inside and into Paddock Hill Bend. Time and time again he showed his nose. On the run up towards Druids though, Birchall staying out of trouble because the history between these two was well documented. Pete Founds and Tom Christie were forced to retire their short chassis Suzuki under the trees, but it mattered not to the boys at the front, who scrapped all race long. Birchall, though, once in front, looked as though he'd mastered Tim Reeves. And this home ground, of course, for Reeves and Wilkes, he would not be happy with that. And when Gary Bryan kept showing his nose to him at Paddock Hill Bend, that further spurred Tim Reeves on to greater achievements. But out in front, Birchall hung on to it and managed to maintain that advantage. Then he had to contend with the number 68 Gary Bryan and Phil Hyde, who now, having got the better of Tim Reeves, were to chase home in third place. At the front though, Kershaw and Clark looking supreme with a significant lead now on this beautiful dry circuit. Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood got the better of Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence, and again that BMW kept fighting back. Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood made the move stick, went past Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence up to 5th place. Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson in 7th were closing. This race was absolutely fantastic going into the closing stages, and Roger Lovelock acquitted himself very well, so much so in fact that he retook the place on the fast bits. The BMW was always going to prevail. Ben Holland and Lee Watson were forced to retire their 600, much to their disgust, but they'll be back next year. Kershaw, meanwhile, heading for the line, looking very, very strong indeed. He and Stuart Clark with an unassailable victory, and it was a terrific, terrific way for them to end their season. Gary Bryan and Phil Hyde, meanwhile, scrapping all the way through with Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes. On the sprint to the line, it was Bryan who prevailed narrowly with a hand in the air from Phil Hyde. Meanwhile, Todd Ellis and Chad Richardson on their way to the 600 Cup title. They were absolutely delighted. It might have been 7th place, but it was the title for them. Congratulations, mutual admiration, and why not? Just deserved. What a race for them. There it is confirmed. Kershaw, Birchall, Bryan. That was the podium from race 1. Reeves, Lovelock and Stevens completing the top 6. Ellis in 7th place, confirmed champion. Further down, Horsepole, Gilbert and Biggs. Races all the way down the field in this finale, race 1. And another one to come up. The crowd were absolutely looking forward to it. Well, we came here to Brands with Todd Ellis and Charlie Richardson leading the Cup class. In the first race, you wrapped it up. Well done, Todd.
Yeah, it's been different for us since Assen, really. I had to start using my head at Assen and here, and yeah, we've turned a bit of a corner in that front. So got away off the line, and Ricky come past down Paddock Hill. I thought, all right, that'll do, and just short shifted and just sat behind him the whole race. It was a bit undramatic and a bit boring, really, but we did what we had to do.
Chaz, you came into this season with Todd teamed up, brand new effort. Could you have ever believed that you'd have achieved what you've done this year?
Not really. We thought with Ricky coming on to 600s that he would get on with it a bit quicker and give us a bit more of a challenge throughout the year. Definitely came strong towards the end and pushed us to make us fight for it. But whenever we come racing, we always just try and have a bit of fun, and if we get a good result here and there, it's just bonus on top, really.
And second place in the main championship is looking pretty good. So what's your plan going to be ahead of that one?
Yeah, well, it's helped us now with it being wet, because there's a bit of family rivalry now. We're guaranteed third, but it's just between me and Gary Ozu, who's second. So I'm aiming to do that, because I can't stand listening to that for 6 months if he beats me.
Family rivalry indeed, but a brilliant family day out here. A huge crowd at Brands Hatch for this, the final race. Conditions very, very different. Reverse grid, I remind you. The top 10 change places. So on pole position, Ian Guy and Jed Pillmore Brady. Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood also getting a great start place on the grid. Right back on 10th place. There we have it. Kershaw and Clark. They've got to be fighting through. The Birchalls love these sorts of conditions. Everybody with, most people with big chunky wet tyres. Ben and Tom Birchall, newly crowned world champions. They did that just a week ago in Germany. Ian Guy and Jed Pillmore Brady settling down, as indeed looking at the bike of Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson, the 600 Cup champions, newly crowned in the opening race. Gary Bryan and Phil. What a shocking start for Gary Bryan and Phil Hyde. Everybody, the world and his friends, swept by. That time, Reeves and Wilkes getting a cracking start. Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes then away. Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood. And Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes right with them. That was an absolutely brilliant start for them. And through they go, chasing now then. Reeves and Wilkes away. There's Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson. Ben and Tom Birchall fighting through. Didn't get the best of starts, but they can see just up the road the race leader, Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes. Second place, the Quattro Plant JG Speedfit Kawasaki that's just been relegated by Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson. And these pair have clashed all season long, it's fair to say. A couple of coming togethers at Thruxton when the fiberglass flew in all sorts of directions. The same again at Cadwell Park. So there's a bit of a history between these two. Birchall's coming there. Kershaw and Clark fighting up. Rick Lawrence passengering Roger Lovelock. I keep saying Rick Lawrence first, but of course Roger Lovelock, the 2009 champion on the number 49 Driver Wolf outfit there, still running BMW. Can he afford to put together a 600 for next year? Let's hope so, because the paddock is a richer place with them in it. Reeves and Wilkes leading. Stevens and Charwood there, you can see the caption along the bottom. 7th place it is for Roger Lovelock. Lewis Blackstock, Paddy Rosny behind them. Then it's Simon Gilbert and Jack Tritton. Kershaw and Clark, here comes Lovelock out of the slipstream, going past Ian Guy and Jed Pillmore Brady and making a really, really good job. Simon Gilbert and Jack Tritton, number 51, 3 abreast along the straight. How close do you want it? But Ian Guy got duffed up, he got punted left, punted right, and he came out the worst of those 3. Behind him, the number 95, Lewis Blackstock and Paddy Rosny. They've really got to terms with the long chassis this year, running very well in World Championship class. Ben and Tom Birchall, number 16, on the back of Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood. But the Kawasaki has got the legs for the Yamaha Birchalls. It's on the drop down under Pilgrim's Drop into the opening right-hander there out in the country. Then sprint along to Westfield. Here they are. Westfield Bend. Around that, and then they'll drop away down Dingledale. And the next right-hander will be Sheen Kerr. They're at Dingledale now. The Birchalls have got the better of Ricky and Ryan. We're only on lap 2 of 8. Andy Peach and Ken Edwards on the number 4 outfit also have made their way past Ian Guy. Ian Guy and Jed Pillmore Brady have done a fair bit of hill climbing this year and really enjoyed it. And after so many seasons, it's good to see Ian Guy still enjoying his racing as much as he does, and does it on a minimal budget. Very expensive business, racing sidecar outfits. The tyre bill alone at the top level can be many thousands per season. And a lot of these outfits, when it's dry, will get through a full set of tyres or maybe a set and a half over the course of a race weekend. So just put your sums together on that. Number 5, Rob Biggs and Jerome Schmitz on the Taurus Tools Honda. Rob Biggs, Jerome Schmitz going underneath Gary Horsepole and Jimmy Connell, who look like they might be losing that 5th place in the title that they've held all the way through the season. Biggs on that 600 Honda looking good. Gary Brown and Phil Hyde after that dreadful start now fighting their way through. Phil Bell, Justin Sharp going well in this one, retirement in race 1, and good to see Belly back in business. Horsepole then, there's Ian Guy. Kev Cable going well. Rob Biggs out in front, now he's got the better of Horsepole. Still damp here, Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes being chased down by Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson, who are really riding like men inspired. Nothing to lose now. They've got it all to gain as well, and they've got the multiple world champions in their sights, and they're not phased at all, riding really, really well here on difficult conditions. And you can see that Tim Reeves doesn't spare the time to glance over the shoulder this time. He knows, in fact, he might even be able to hear that busy Honda looking up the inside precociously, but Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson now closing down Tim and Mark Wilkes. Out into the country they go. The fastest part of the circuit, Pilgrim's Drop. That's about 140 miles an hour down there. Into the right-hander, then the sprint along to Westfield. You can see the dry bits opening up, the leaden skies above. Back with Phil Bell and Justin Sharp having a great battle with Gary Bryan and Phil Hyde, and getting the better of them, keeping the tight line round Paddock Hill Bend. At the front, though, this battle still raging. And another good ride further down the order for Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence on the BMW. Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood have been mixing it with them. There's the look over the shoulder from Tim Reeves. No, I haven't shaken him off. We're on lap 5 of 8. And still this youngster, just 22 years of age, Todd Ellis, in only his second season. What a great job he has done. Rookie year in 2017, this year swept everything before him. Tim Reeves, on the other hand, has not been contesting the British Championship. Half a second between them. Further 4 seconds down the road, Ben and Tom Birchall in third place. And Todd and Chaz now on the Santander Salt CBR 600. Honda looking up the inside, and they're coming now into 30s. No, sweeping round, taking the wider line and closing the door. Look at Mark Wilkes. Look at the action of the passenger just tucked down there. Todd Ellis looking left, looking right. He's going to pull out of the slipstream. He's shadowing him down under the bridge. On board with Kershaw and Clark then. Ahead of them, Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood, former double champions in this domestic series. And the speed of the big Kawasaki, this will be the last time that Steve Kershaw races that bike in anger, because it all moves to 600cc power next year. Tail enders are Tim Reeves' speciality. That's Nev Jones, the back marker there, and sweeping through as well, Ellis goes with him. Bryan still fighting. Phil Bell, the number 18. Phil Bell and Justin Sharp. Sharp, an occasional passenger. He comes out every now and then, and when he does a good job. Look at that, a bit of a kiss on the way through, and a gesture from Phil Bell, and I don't think it was a wave of congratulation. On the penultimate lap, it's Reeves and Wilkes. Todd Ellis, Chaz Richardson, more back markers ahead. And that's the Belgian, Bertrand Hu. And we are very close to Dover, of course. That means that these continental wildcards can catch a ferry, nip across the water, and have involvement in what is the most prestigious sidecar championship on the planet, without a doubt. Just last week at Oschersleben, the title was wrapped up by the Birchall brothers in front of almost a non-existent crowd. But here, we must have 25,000 people on this very damp finale Sunday. That title in the solo championship, the British Superbike Championship, wrapped up yesterday by Leon Haslam, his very first major title. Congratulations to him. But here, it's 3 wheels, not 2 wheels. It's Tim Reeves still heading Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson. Down into Dingle Dell they go with, yeah, that's Philippe Gallienne and Helen Deely. Frenchman, number 71, Philippe Gallienne, the amiable. Such a lovely man. On board with Gary, going underneath Ian Guy and Jed Pilmore Brady. Gary Bryan and Phil Hyde. And the penultimate lap then, Reeves still leading Todd Ellis, and Todd Ellis probably too far back now as the back really backs it in to Clearways. Onto the straight then, one more lap of the 2.433 Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit for Tim Reeves to defend that race win, and he's ridden absolutely brilliantly from the word go. Has he done enough though? Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson with 1 lap to go, and they're now further back than they've been all race. So, to my mind, sitting here, it's looking unlikely. Tim Reeves far too canny for that, but he knows they're coming. He's looking over the shoulder. He knows they're coming. Todd Ellis then looking at the inside. And the back markers staying out of the way. Through they go out into the country. This is it, the fastest part of the circuit, 140 miles an hour. They're neck and neck, they're side by side. Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson alongside the master, Tim Reeves, but they're on the outside line. They might be on the dry, but he's got the inside line, and it's the fast line. Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes then. Westfield ahead of them. They're halfway around this final lap. They're right at the furthest point out in the country as they drop down into Dingledale with yet one more tail-ender ahead of them, but I think that tail-ender is a bit too far up the road. I don't think it's going to prove to be a problem for them. It's Nick Webb. Nick Webb having a one-off and a retirement. Nick Webb, number 10, will stay out of the way. Look at that. Todd Ellis is alongside Tim Reeves. Oh, this sweet pass, Nick Webb, and it's into Clearways. Reeves has got it. Reeves has got his nose in front. On the inside, though, is Todd Ellis. They're side by side. There's a bit of contact. Sprinting for the line. They are neck and neck. Can Tim Reeves muster anything? His head was down. Chaz Richardson puts his hand in the air. That was so close. It was a fraction of a second. Tim thinks he's got it. Todd thinks he's got it. Mark Wilkes doesn't care because he loved the race. Likewise, Chaz Richardson. What a top-class race. And it was Todd Ellis. Todd Ellis by half a nose. That is an absolute fraction. What a brilliant, brilliant victory. Race winner, though, Ellis and Richardson. First major victory against the best in the world. Well done. What a storming race. Look at that. 5 1/1000ths of a second ahead of Reeves. Birchall third. Kershaw, Stevens. Lovelock and Lawrence, another brilliant ride for them. Andy Peach and Ken Edwards in wet conditions did really, really well. Ben Holland, Lee Watson got a finish there as wildcards ahead of Lewis Blackstock and Paddy Rosney. Gary Bryan and Phil Hyde, an appalling start. They were never to recover from that, but that battle with Phil Bell and Justin Sharp raged all race long. Ben and Tom Birchall, double podium here at Brands, double world championship for you. Couldn't get much better than that. A good season all round.
It's been perfect. You know, we're so thrilled, so happy to be world champions again, and success we had at TT. And you know, it's thanks to everyone that's involved with us that allows us to do it, and it's great to repay them with that. And great to come back here. And I mean, yesterday's race was incredible. I'm still trying to get over that. It was brilliant, and a great race today. Todd's going really well. It just looks great for the future of the sport, and yeah, perfect.
Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes, you gave an absolutely brilliant display. You made the most of a reverse grid situation, quickly got to the front, but what a race, Tim. Well done.
Yeah, it was great, wasn't it? Todd really rode really well, and yeah, he's coming along good, isn't he? That's what the sport needs, some youngsters at the front. It's good to be pushed, and yeah, it was great. We just got a little bit too much wheel spin out of Clearways, and it just gave him the drop, and yeah, couldn't have been any closer. Really enjoyed it.
Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson, you won it against the best in the world. Well done. How's the feeling?
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was nice to get the championship out of the way yesterday, and we thought we could have a bit of a run with them today and try. So I thought I don't mind it in the wet, and it was nice to get away and chase him. And yeah, we just watched what he was doing, and luckily back markers come into play, and it was close over the finish, but we got there in the end.
Well, there it is then. What an impressive battle for them. They finished second. That's confirmed ahead of Gary Bryan and Phil Hyde. Stevens, Charwood fourth. Champions Kershaw and Clark, of course. Birchall's fifth in the title after just a few appearances. Great for them. Horsepole lost that fifth. He drops to sixth. Cup Championship confirmed. Ellis from Stevens. Brian Gray and Jason Pitt, very creditable. Well, what a weekend we've had here at Brands Hatch, and indeed, what a season for the 2018 Hyundai Construction Equipment British Sidecar Championship. Next year looks good. We've got strong riders, we've got young talent coming through. The grids are going to be good. It's 600s all the way through, so no big bike advantage. We're going to be doing it all again next year. We hope you can join us. Thanks for watching, thanks for following us, and have a good winter. Bye-bye for now.